In a recent survey with 30 recruiters from the 30 largest airlines in the world, I discovered the 4 answers that most often get flight attendants rejected in interviews. And I'm going to tell you everything in this video. Hi, how are you? I'm Romulo Gutierrez, and this is the Flydeck Briefing Channel. I've been a recruiter and selector for 27 years, with extensive experience in international airlines, and I've been in contact with recruiters from various companies. From the United States, Brazil, the Middle East, Europe, and even Oceania. I talked to them and they told me informally in a survey, so that's why I won't mention the names of the companies, about 4 main factors that often lead to flight attendants being rejected. And I'm going to tell you all about them in this video. Let's get started. The first factor that leads to a lot of rejections. When the question comes up, tell me about areas you need to improve, tell me your weaknesses, the flight attendant or the flight attendant candidate either tries to hide these weaknesses by saying things like, "Oh, I can't really remember," or "I'm too much of a perfectionist, I'm someone who likes everything to be just right." So they start mentioning, in reality, positive traits as if they were negative ones, just to cover up their real weaknesses. And then one of the recruiters said, "Romulo, we're not looking for supermen here, we're not looking for perfect people. We want people who are striving to improve, because this company only reached this level of global growth precisely because it's a company that is always improving." So the problem isn't mentioning a weakness. The problem is mentioning it without saying that you're working on improving it. So I can say, look, one weakness I have is shyness. But to improve on that, I've been doing some activities like yoga and meditation. And I'm also taking a theater class, which has already helped me a lot to feel a bit more at ease about it. So that could be a good answer. All right, so be careful. And one more thing. Don't mention weaknesses that conflict with the profession, that are at odds with the job. It's not good either. Like, "Oh, I can't keep calm in stressful situations or emergencies. I can't stay calm," but that's actually one of the main roles of a flight attendant. So you can't justify a point like that, but this is something that gets a lot of people rejected. The second thing that gets a lot of candidates rejected and that you need to be very careful with is the first question in the interview, which is, introduce yourself, tell us a little about yourself. This is also common in airlines that use video interviews. What gets people rejected? Very long answers. Your answer should be about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes at most. Or answers that are too short. Tell us a little about yourself. For example, "Hi, I'm Romulo Gutierrez, I'm 47 years old, and I live in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I've been working with international airlines for 27 years. That's a little about me." So if you can't say, of course, your name, age, where you're from, your hobbies, who you live with, how aviation came into your life, what you've been doing to prepare for that selection process, and why you want to be a flight attendant, all in a 3-minute introduction, it's really, really, really important that you learn how to do it. Now let's move on to actually the third and fourth mistakes. The fourth mistake might be the simplest, but it's where they fail. Before I go on, if you want mentoring here from Flydeck Briefing, where we can prepare you for all the selection processes in every stage. Okay, from the world's major airlines. From virtual interviews, group dynamics, open days, and final interviews, any stage, really, we can get you ready. With live online mentoring, nothing pre-recorded, it's real interaction. The details about this mentoring are here in the video description and in the first comment. You go there, check the available times you want to book, look at the combo or package you want to purchase, and do everything automatically through the Hotmart platform, which is 100% secure. And here on Flydeck Briefing, there are new videos every Wednesday at 1 in the afternoon, okay? So sign up and leave your like so this project can really take off. Now let's move on to the third mistake. This one causes a lot of people to fail, the in-flight scenarios. All airlines, every single one, tap in Portugal, Air France from France, United Airlines, Qatar, Etrad, any airline in the world, LATAM in Brazil. Every airline will use in-flight scenarios during their interviews, okay? Scenarios involving conflicts with passengers, conflict situations between passengers, emergency situations on board, situations where a fellow crew member is taking the wrong actions. You're going to ask about these, okay? So I'm going to give you 2 tips for how to answer. The first one is, instead of just giving purely theoretical answers, always try at every moment to use what I call STAR responses. STAR, where you describe the situation, task, action, and result. All right? So that's important. Look, in a situation like this where my colleague is eating at an inappropriate time during the flight, I would reprimand him, talk to him, and say that this isn't allowed because we're trained not to do that. And let me even tell you about a situation where this actually happened. For example, you've never flown as a flight attendant. Where did this happen? When I worked at the sports center next to, well, the XYZ company. At a certain point, then you tell the situation, the task, how you acted, so you can show that you already have experience with that. And these answers shouldn't just come to you on the spot. In your mind, always bring to any airline interview, no matter where in the world, a situation where you resolved conflicts with colleagues and a situation where you delighted customers, so you can use that throughout the interview. So that's very important. And another tip for answering these onboard situations is to always use the premise I talk about, the 3 basic aspects of global aviation, where you mention flight safety, where you mention customer experience, and where you mention hierarchy. Okay. Flight safety is an excellent way for you to resolve. In any onboard situation, prioritize flight safety. Customer experience is the second pillar. The customer has to be satisfied. And the third is hierarchy. There is a hierarchy inside the airplane. There's the cabin chief, the captain, the co-pilot. There's a whole hierarchical structure that you can use to answer well. And the fourth question, which my fellow flight attendants from around the world who answered my survey, I'm grateful to each one of them for believing in the Flight Deck Briefing Project, by the way, which is the question, why do you want to be a flight attendant? Some, or actually many airlines, ask why you want to be a flight attendant for the company, and then they mention the company's name. For example, why do you want to be a flight attendant at Bridge Airways? Why? And I've put together a complete tutorial so you can understand exactly how to answer this question in the video right here. Go check it out. Great preparation, take care, and see you next time. Bye-bye.